And welcome back to Flexible Games, where we are playing Space Engineers. All right, a little bit of a update here. If anybody out there watched my stream, you'll know that we made quite a bit of progress in the world during the last stream. Mainly, we've got our little base here set up, ready to go. I've got my welding ship, and then I made another one for grinding. So I've got a nice little grinding ship. I ground down the excess, the original crash ship that we had here, ground that all down, and it's long gone now. And I also built a pretty beefy welding ship here. This uses the large ship grid instead of the smaller blocks that our original welding ship has, because it has a big azimuth storage tank in it, so it has a lot of material. If we look in here, you can see there is 12 million liters available in here, and it actually wants 100,000 of all of the different components, and it loads 500,000 steel plates. But the issue here is we actually didn't have 100,000 of all of these different components, so it loaded what we had, and then the system started building more. So if we go in here and we look right in here, we'll look at production, and I'm sure our assemblers, or at least some of them, are doing something. Maybe not. Maybe we've built all the way back up again. But yeah, we've got plenty of resources, and I think it's time we start looking at weapons platforms, because we have this space pirate raiding outpost over there that we are going to need to take out. So let's take a look at our weapons. Let's see. I've got a couple different weapon packs here. These are the blaster turrets. This is a different style of weapon. It basically doesn't use ammo. It uses just massive amounts of power. Absolutely massive. So yeah, that's an option there. Let's see, tiered armor thrusters. Let's see, Kratos. I wanna get the Kratos thruster on a ship and see what we can do about that. But I mean, there's a weapons pack here. Mechs Pex weapons. Here's a whole bunch of weapons. We've actually got those anti-fighter turrets all around our base. So if anything gets close to us, that thing is going to start tearing them apart. But we also have all these battleship cannons and just tons and tons of weapons that we can load up. So I'm thinking we either want to do, I've also got shields, so that's something that's an option. Let's see, there's azimuth weapons. There's a bunch of weapons in here, as well as some thrusters, and not sure. I know there's some weapons in there. There's a launcher. It's probably rockets. Turrets, probably like flak cannons, stuff like that. Yeah, and these, I kind of want to see how these function. But the MechSpec stuff is pretty good as well. And the Big Bertha, this cannon it's a static cannon, so you gotta line up the ship with the shot. But wow, does that thing pack a punch. And then we have some of these sentry guns, smaller cannons here. So I think in the short term here, we're going to want to create a warship, so to speak. So how are we going to do that? Well, obviously I don't want to do a boxy design. I want to get something pretty nice looking. You know, try to get something that looks good and is strong enough to go after a raiding outpost. I'm assuming that's going to be pretty heavily defended with drones and such. And so we need something pretty strong. It's gonna be a pretty big build. It's gonna take us a little while to build this out. So let's get some distance here from our base so we can start this. So we have a little bit of room to work with here. And get this started. So here we go. I'm gonna want a pretty decent front cannon on this, and the cannons that are on these warships are pretty heavy duty. So let's first get a general idea. And how many? 180 steel plates. So let's get some distance here. This is going to be a pretty big ship. I just want to get the general structure laid out, and then we can sort of fill in what we're doing after that. So I want a pretty good distance there. I'm not even sure if that is going to be long enough. Let's get some really good distance going here. Now this is just sort of getting the general layout here. So I want some nacelles on either side for propulsion. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out on that side. So let's do the same on this side. 1, let's get lined up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this side. Okay, so this is going to be, that's going to be what, 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want 5 on this side. Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do the same over here. I know there are ways of doing 2, 3, 4, like symmetrical designs, but I think those are creative only. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we want these to stick out. Okay, so that's just the general idea. I'm gonna want weapons platforms, and this is gonna be basically a kind of a cruiser or a destroyer. Nothing like I'm gonna be, you know, that I'll be able to load a ship in or anything. Still not sure if that's been fixed or not. Okay, so as far as a cockpit, I'm thinking coming back here with the cockpit, having the front have weapons and such, so the cockpit will be sort of above it all here, and then we can start building this out a little bit. So we're gonna bring this out on each side here. And that'll give us our general idea, general shape. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that should line us right up with that. And that'll give us sort of our spearhead. Design all the way down to the end here, and then we're going to cut in from here all the way through, and there's going to be 3. We need a way to walk in and out and all that kind of stuff into the back here. Okay, so So we want 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I think. Yeah, I think we're gonna need to take this one down. Like that. Okay, so all of this is gonna be full. Oh, no, I need more steel plate. And that's kind of why I put this cargo right here, so I can come in here and just grab steel plates. Let's grab 500 of these. All right. Get right back in here. So, you know, I could just go to the workshop and find a blueprint and build one of those. I could do all that, but that kind of eliminates the whole design process, and it just basically comes down to welding alone. And I kind of want to see what we can design, kind of on the fly. I don't really have anything in mind, but I would like to get something organically designed. Okay, so we need 2 more. So this will be basically like the main walkway around the ship. It's kind of looking like the Star Trek Voyager ship, with the sideways nacelles here, which is interesting. I could even go so far as to emphasize that even more. Okay, and then we'll add two more rows to this side since we want to be symmetrical. It's like that. So there's not exactly round, but it is what it is. And then the back here, obviously this kind of breaks from that idea of Star Trek Voyager. So let's just continue this out, and this will be another primary thrust. The nacelles obviously are going to require some thrust, and I'm thinking we're going to want some major thrusters back here. So using those Kratos thrusters, I think, is a good idea. Not sure all the curvature, all the little angles and design. This is just the basic platform here. So we'll add, you know, nice little features here, and also come in with heavy armor and put in some heavy armor blocks where they're needed. So a little extra protection on all of that. All right. So that is the base design. Now we need to start fleshing it out a little bit. So if we want weapons platforms on this, I'm thinking we're gonna want at least one big placement over here. And let's look at some of these weapons. Let's come in maybe right in here, and let's see. I want to see what well, these are also for small ships. Okay, that one doesn't have a small ship version, and we've got large ship X3 heavy battery, lots and lots of weapons. And we can use missile turrets and Gatling turrets to sort of smaller outcroppings of those will help take out, you know, any missiles that are coming our way. So let's see, what do we want? Battleship Cannon Mark III. I want to see how big this beast is. Look at the size of this thing. Okay, so that that thing is what, 7? Yeah, that thing is 7 by 7 right there. That's how big that cannon is. That's kind of large. That is obscenely large. So I don't know if we're going to be using that at all. 7 by 7. That's a big cannon. So let's see what the Battleship Cannon Mark II looks like. Okay, even this is 5 by 5. I'm looking for something with a little smaller footprint. How about this guy? Okay, that's a little easier to manage there. Yeah, that's a little easier to manage. So that is the 300mm auto cannon. Now I'm guessing the 2, this is going to be 2 by 2. Oh no, this is 3 by 3. I guess, yeah, it's going to be odd numbers. So, let's see. 900mm, 300mm. This one, is this? No, this one is a 5 by 5. Wow, that is a big gun. So those are going to be more or less for like giant battleships. Oh, and yeah, take a look at the Big Bertha here. This thing is, I don't even know how to describe this gun. Let's go V. Look at the size of this gun. Let's back away here. Look at the size of this thing. Oh my god, this thing is awesome. That gun, I don't even know what ammo it holds, but wow, I can't imagine this gun. I don't even know if I can place this thing. Oh, I can. Nice. So yeah, that gun right there is larger than the ship itself. So we're gonna need a, if we're gonna have any of these, we're gonna need a pretty substantial ship in order to utilize one of those things. But I think it's gonna be sweet if we do get a ship that size. That is gonna be a beautiful thing right there. That's such a huge gun. Okay, moving on. Let's see what else. Now the other thing we have are those. Where were they? I know we had. Where did those other weapons go? I know I saw them in here. Kratos thruster, it wasn't production blocks. Voxel hands, wavelength design, window box, digi. Where did they go? All weapons. There they are. So yeah, here are the energy-based turrets. So I'd rather have turrets than static, because if we're rolling up on somebody, I want to make sure that we have the ability for our turrets to aim and shoot on their own, since we don't have any multiplayer capabilities. Let's see. XL Citadel plasma cannon turret. Yeah, this thing is also monumentally large. I think this is so large that we can't actually build this in this mode, because this thing is what, 9 by 9. So yeah, we can't actually build this in survival mode. We would have to go into creative, create a blueprint and build it that way. So that is a 3 by 3. Are there any 1 by 1s? Oh, it looks like yes, there are. 6 B. So there are some 1 by 1s. Yeah, these don't need, what's cool about these is they don't actually need connections to a conveyor system, because they don't use ammo. They basically use a substantial amount of power and make their own ammo. So yeah, these things, I mean, we're talking megawatt levels of power that these things will consume. Which we won't be able to support too many of them on. You know, if we have like an engineering section back here, how big are, I think let's see if we have, there it is, 4. Yeah, these are 3 by 3. So I'm thinking we're gonna need a little bit more space back here. Because if I have some thrusters and stuff like that, we're going to need multiple levels of size here. I could do the engineering section in here on one of these decks, because there's going to be a few different decks in here that we're going to want covered. Alright, so that starts this out. I'm going to kind of play around with dimensionality here and see if we can't come up with a good design. But I want to design this as much as possible on camera just to get an idea of how long this takes. And when you look at the workshop and you see those massive, massive blueprints for capital vehicles, you get an idea of just how much time is involved in designing those, which is why I am leery of doing too much of that on camera, just because I can't sit and spend 20 hours building, designing and building too much, because that's a lot of time. That's a brutal amount of time. So we might have to find a happy medium somewhere in there. Because if I want a walkway in here, well, that's 1 block and that's 2 blocks, so that's the walkway right there. So I have no room anywhere to put anything else in this system right now. So I'm thinking this main, I'm gonna get this welded up. I'm gonna make this like my middle. So this will be my middle deck here, and then from here I can go up with it and down and create more space for other systems, like a shielding system and stuff like that. But anyway, that'll have to do it for this episode, and I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.